Double D, those are the writers of Game of Thrones. Well, I wouldn't call them writers. I would call them freestyle sketch artists because I want back an hour and 22 minutes of my life last night on the second to the last episode of season 8, episode 5, Game of Thrones. It's referred to as the bells or for whom the bells, whatever. The shit was atrocious. It is, throw the whole episode away, all right? It's sort of like, how can I describe this episode? Well, being that we had to wait damn near almost 2 years for Game of Thrones to come back, it's kind of like you dated someone for a while, you thought they were really, really nice, and maybe they had to go away somewhere or, distance, long distance relationship, and you haven't seen them in whatever, 17 months, however long it was, even long, I think it was like 20 months. And then you meet back up with them and you're so underwhelmed. And you're like, what was all of this from season 1 through season 7 that I watched this show all to be so grossly underwhelmed? Yes, last week I was like, okay, you know what, they got 2 more episodes to get it right. Then last night's episode, Amelia Clark had went out and said that, oh, it's going to be the biggest episode ever. I mean, I guess if you're looking for a video, an hour and a half of destruction, I could have watched an old 90s or 1980s action film. Hell, I could have watched G.I. Joe, the one with one of the Wayans brothers. I would have been extremely excited with unnecessary destruction for no reason. I could have watched tons of these films that are out that are just destruction, right? It's just something breaking something up. I could have watched Wonder Woman. Like, there were so many things that were so unnecessary that lacked any script. It was all visual and it wasn't good visual. So first, let's start off with Various is writing letters, gossiping again, blogging and tweeting at Dragonstone, and one of his little spies comes into the room and she says, I think someone has caught on to me. And also, what I ended up reading later on one of the blogs was that, by the way, you have to love my wig, and I got my last dragon. I'm not gonna call him whatever his name is. I'm gonna call him Leroy because this is the last dragon. We'll get to him because he's a destructive motherfucker. All right. So she's in the Dragonstone. She won't eat. She's in mourning, right? Because her homegirl was killed in front of her. Everyone she trusted has gone against her. She knows this. She feels it. She's been, picture you going to school for 7 years, right? Doing everything that you need to do to get your degree. And then somebody who don't even want the job, Jon Snow, is constantly getting promoted and put into that position. That's the take that I take from Daenerys. And as much as we may call her the Mad Queen and shit like that and say she's like her dad, I don't know. I mean, at the same time, we never call Cersei the Mad Queen. So is it, if you're evil all the time, it's a laudable, and if you're not evil all the time, then it is you're the Mad Queen? I mean, her homegirl was beheaded. She lost her dragon trying to fight these damn White Walkers, which to her were never an issue. The White Walkers for Daenerys were never an issue. She never planned on coming up north. She could have handled that a little bit later on. She got detoured from what was her original goal, was the King's Landing, all to help Jon Snow in his bullshit ass. And this goes for the whole storyline of Game of Thrones from season 1 through 8. The White Walkers and that whole aspect was never a full-time, it was never a dominant component of the story. It was a minimal threat. It was a minimal aspect. And as much as we may think of the White Walkers as a threat, we have other characters who were even huger threats. We have the Boltons. We have Stannis. There's so many characters that pose these threats. The Wildings. We spent 2 seasons with Jon and him on his damn conquest of the Wildings, but yeah, everyone is so transfixed on the Night King. And I think really people are transfixed on the Night King because it's a goddamn weird graphic thing. I think people are stuck on the visual, right? Oh, it's this mythical creature. People are stuck on mythical shit. I don't know what the hell is the matter with society. So John arrives, and then Various walks up to him and says, I really want you to have the job. John's like, yo, don't come at me with that bullshit. Use caution. He doesn't want the job. Various is like, yo, do you want the job? Tyrion says to Various, yo, homeboy, you better calm down. In which then Daenerys says to him, she calls him to the, he goes to go drop dime that, Various is telling on him. Oh shit, look at Leroy. Back. That's how that's how your brother got messed up. So anyway, she says, you betrayed me, and by John betraying her, and then John telling Sansa telling Tyrion telling Valerius telling Sandra Rose, and all of that other shit. What ends up happening is that everybody knows, and now it's even more questionable. And she said, he betrayed me. And what was the whole point of Sansa telling you? It was to create more beef, right? Why does your enemy come back and tell you somebody else more shit? To create more beef. Duh. Anyway, at this point, Tyrion is begging for her to not go full throttle when they go to battle the next day. And Grey Worm was like, yo, I want war. And again, don't tell, what I really hate about this on a social level, since everybody's getting all deep and shit and all woke, is that I feel as though everyone's telling Daenerys how she should behave and how Grey Worm should behave. This is somebody whose family was taken away from him. And I'm not saying that as we go into this, what she did was right, but her family was taken away from her. Her best counsel was taken away from her. Grey Worm's girl was taken away. And you keep sort of making it seem like, oh, this is how you should behave. Granted, when bad things happen to you, you should be okay, because technically you're not a bad person. You're a worse person if you respond to bad people. But bad people are allowed to be bad, right? Like, we allow Cersei to be bad. Anyway, with that bullshit, so Daenerys tells Tyrion once again, I plan on killing you if you destroy me, because you see how I burnt up Varys. First of all, that dragon came behind Daenerys when Varys put all his 2-finger rings back. He knew they was coming for him and everything. And then Grey Worm came to the room. You hear them, doop, 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 soldier shot. They came to come get him. He dropped his rings off. He burned his last letter. And they came to get his ass. And then they brought him to the beachside, which you have to remember. Remember when Stannis was in Dragonstone and he brought people to the beachside so that they could be burned by the Red Witch? Hello? Are you people staying with me? Thank you. All right. So then Daenerys says that he's a traitor. Tyrion gives him his one last touch. Because remember, Varys helped Tyrion out when they were up against when they said he killed Joffrey. Well, anyway, the dragon came behind Daenerys' head and then burned Varys' little piglet ass to a crisp. And next day they went to war. John rejected her after she said again, I'm having issues, I feel bad, and all this other stuff. She gave Grey Worm the chain. Oh, this was her last possession. Out of all the shit to give somebody, this is a chain. I guess it's all symbolism. Back to war. All right. So now this is a big day. They're at war. They're standing outside of King's Landing. Oh wait, he saves Jaime, which is very reminiscent. First of all, Jaime liked getting caught. I have a belief. Well, they did say he is the stupidest Lannister. He's a himbo. He's a pretty boy, dumb as shit, not knowing what he's doing. And look how he got caught out there. Damn shame. Well, anyway, Tyrion comes and says to him, you have one last chance, because she's gonna probably try to kill Cersei. I don't want Cersei to die. Can you, I don't want you to die. So I want you guys to go. There's a boat, all this other shit. And then we are at King's Landing, and the gold company is standing outside and shit. And Daenerys realized that last week when she lost Homeboy's little brother, that there has to be a better tactical strategy when I attack these boats. So what she did was she zigzagged, in the water, and then she fire. And then she also knocked out all of those scorpions, all the things that would have been a threat to the dragon, to her last dragon, Leroy, Reggie. No, Reggie died last week. This is Leroy, the last dragon. And that point, the symbol, the takeaway was, if we hit the bells, it is a surrender, that Cersei has surrendered. So you hear all these people in the background, ring the bell, ring the bell. Yeah, that shit was shit reminded me of back in the day when you just be yelling, where's the teacher? And that's when Cersei realized that her plan had failed. And so Quayborn says, let's go. And then they bumped into, while she's trying to escape, Daenerys is, I think she thought for a few seconds. She was like, okay, bringing all the women and children in, okay. And then she just said, you know what? Jacaris! That's what she said. And she burned that shit down. Not that much more to say. It was 20 minutes of just a damn dragon just burning shit. Ah, Jacaris! Ah, Jacaris! That's all that kept going on for 20 to 30 minutes until the damn army went ballistic and crazy and started going buck wild and started acting like the Dothraki. That shit had Jon straight up did not know what to do. It was hilarious because that's how Jon is going to be as a damn leader. Dragon, my homeboy said that the dragon was giving everybody, mesothelioma, asbestos. So you see, the touching moment that you see is when the Hound tells Arya, don't live your life like this. You have to live with love. I've lived with hate my whole life. So he goes off to find his mutant ass, freak ass brother, Sir Gregor Clegg in the mountain. That Frankenstein looking motherfucker looks wow. But anyway, everyone's laughing at the scene where Cersei tells him, Sir Clegg, stay with me. And then Qyburn says, obey your master. And he picks him up and crushes Qyburn on the ground. And Cersei just walks right over like, excuse me. She did the church mouse walk. I'm just going to get right out the way. And then I guess what is it called? Clegg Bowl or whatever. Shit was like MMA. That was so underwhelming. The whole fight was underwhelming. I guess I'm just underwhelmed by the violence on Game of Thrones at this point. A lot of it to me is, I wouldn't say it's senseless, but if we had a really good script and really great one-liners to go with it, I would get it, but I didn't see it. I see, they're going back and forth between the Hound getting hurt and Arya falling down, and I can get it from an artistical point of view, but I don't get it. I don't get it from a viewer. It just couldn't connect with me fully. I see where you were trying to go. It just didn't do anything for me. And then, just the whole aspect of all these seasons, we've waited for Daenerys. And, I never thought that she would be on the throne. And I guess, I don't know. I feel like I listened to this podcast and they said it was like fan bankruptcy. And I guess I'm like this bankrupt fan at this point. I've been watching it since, I think, December of 2011. I didn't watch the first season. I watched the first season. I binge watched it over the holiday. But when it initially first came out, I didn't watch it. My mother had to get me to watch it. But I have been a diehard fan since then. I've read the books twice. I have the newest book. But I felt as though last night's episode was just so lazy. And all this like really, really corny symbolism and just the whole making Dany raging mad without things that led up to her being mad, right? So it was like a really bad episode of Snapped. So it's like these things that make her, 2 episodes ago, she was this queen that looked really cool and had some dragons. And now we're talking about she's going crazy and batshit and burned up this whole city. When you have to look at it, there are no rules in Love and War, right? This is collateral damage. This is, well, guess what? If they're not going to love me, they're not going to love you either, Jon. Boom, right? So they won't be able to turn on me. And some of it is saying that is very much related to her father, the Mad King, when initially they had put all of that dragon fire underneath King's Landing, and it was supposed to, and the reason why Jaime kills him is because they name him the Kingslayer, is because he ended up having to kill him to get him to not go into all this massive destruction. I guess. I don't know. I'll say it again. Last night's episode was, I really want my life back. And I'm not the super overcritical viewer of television, but I feel like the quality of TV that they gave us all these previous seasons was not the quality of television that I've gotten this second half of Game of Thrones, of the 6 episodes that we have. And, you know, I'm reading these things and they're saying HBO gave them 10 episodes and they decided to do it this way. And I guess cost and budget and time. I don't know. I don't know if that has to be the fleshing out of the script and the writing. And, you know, and I would feel better dialogue components, which don't cost as much than all of the CGI that, you know, unnecessarily I had to see. I mean, it's a dragon. I mean, how many times is she going to burn shit up? We've seen that already, you know? And how do you go from, again, you on your mission to claim your throne, you get thwarted by this dude, you were sleeping with him, he rejects you, his people reject you. He got what he needed from you, right? Which was the end of the threat towards him, which was the Night King and the White Walkers. And, you know, he's come on this other journey with you that's your cause, and people are failing him. That shit sucks. All right? That shit sucks. So next Sunday is the last episode. I don't have as much excitement about it as I thought I naturally would. And I guess it's because this episode was just mind-boggling stupid. I call it episode. It wasn't cerebral. It wasn't smart. I mean, again, Leroy, he did his thing. But, you know, I mean, Daenerys is cold-blooded, and she just burned, you know, Baron Baby Burn, that's her new name. All right, until next week, Jakaris.